8:43 a.m. I am heading south in Florida. I'll be going to Homestead, Kendall, and Miami. It is my first appointment is at 5 a.m. I started about an hour ago. It is Sunday, June 15th, Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everyone out there who's a father or a grandfather. And I started this with a thought about some of the manosphere content that I'm consuming. I'm sure many of you are consuming. It's very popular, getting thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands and probably millions of views on different platforms. And most of it is like what women want, basically, or how to understand women, or how to not be manipulated by women, blah, 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 blah. And then the whole MGTOW, men going their own way, is sort of still in the manosphere, where they're still trying to, a lot of them, understand and explain women. And it's like, what if we actually, like, how freeing would it be if you actually didn't want them? Because that's the part that keeps, that's the chink in the armor, is like, we've got all this, information, but the moment we see a pretty face, it all goes out the window. It's like that episode of The Big Bang Theory where Raj makes the big speech in the comic book store about, being lonely and how, they're a community together, blah, blah, blah. And then the moment a girl says hi to him, he tells them all, basically F off and leaves with the girl. And it's like, the reason humor works is it has to have an element of truth in it, otherwise it wouldn't be funny. And it's true, because it's like, I've been single and alone for almost 2 decades, and I can tell myself all this stuff and try to pile on all this information, absorb all this, psychology, whatever, and say like, oh, now I'm protected. And literally the moment I see a pretty face, like, even though they don't give me the time of day, like, my brain starts going, into overdrive, like, oh my God, she could be the perfect woman, she could be, what a wife, or what a woman, or what a mother, blah, blah, blah. It's like, there's no defense for that. Like, there's no defense for your body seeing, something beautiful and being like, I want that. It's like somebody who's starving, and it's like, they can say like, I don't want food, I don't want food, I don't want food. And then the moment they see some beautiful, restaurant food, it's like, they literally tear their own arms off if it meant they get some food. So, I don't know, that's the answer, at least for me. Like, I don't know what's going to fix other people, but the answer for me would be to stop wanting that. Like, to have some sort of defense against, the pretty face. Like, to have my brain not turn off and go into emotion. Literally, it's like, my heart jumps out of my chest, with desire and love and fake love and endorphins and all that, with the animal instinct of wanting to, keep the species alive over millions of years. All those instincts, override the brain's logic. It's like, that's the trick, is to actually not want them anymore. And even after all this time of being ignored, treated like I'm, Quasimodo with, leprosy, not being able to even keep the gaze of a woman, it's like, I literally, to the best of my ability to remember, have not actually kept the gaze, like eye-to-eye contact with a woman in, I don't know, 30, 40 years? I don't know. Like, literally, I can't even catch a woman looking at me. It's like, they say like, oh, if a girl looks at you, and you look her back, and then you look away and look back, blah, 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 it's like, playing footsies with your eyes, or your where you're looking. It's like, dude, that does not happen for a lot of us, myself included. It's like they don't even look at you. You don't exist. You're not a human being. You're not a life form. You're just, it's like you're a biological machine that's just in their way. It's like, if they were walking in traffic and there was a car there, that's the equivalent of you walking by them. It's just something in their way. So the trick would be, what is happiness on your own? What is, what makes you happy? And it's like, unfortunately, for most guys, they're content. That's the difference, is men are usually content, but they're not happy. Like myself, if I have food, shelter, income, blah, 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 like I'm content. But anytime I think of happiness, it's like relational, it's involves another human being. And it's like, so there is no happiness. Like you can watch a comedy and laugh, or you can watch a tragedy and cry, but you're feeling reflective emotions. You're not having any emotions of your own, and that literally takes another person. And trying to find the answer. Like, men like solving puzzles. Look at a lot of the men's video games. It's action, but it's also puzzles. Like, your character has to go here and get this, they have to go there and get that, then they have to combine it to get this, to get access to over here. It's like, there's action mixed in with puzzles to solve. And, status while you're gaining, status and levels and all that. And it's like, I don't know, men are still trying to figure everything out, and it's like, you can't figure out a Rubik's Cube that's not only changing while you're trying to solve it, but is also like changing the colors to, the colors change depending on how you're looking at it, and they'll change, just randomly anyways. So it's like you're constantly trying to solve something that is unsolvable. So the trick is not to play. It's almost, you remember the movie War Games, where the computer was gonna launch missiles, and they made it play tic-tac-toe with itself, and then play the war game with itself, and then it realized the epiphany of the movie was like, oh, the only way to win this game is not to play. And it's like, that's basically what a lot of men are starting to come around to. It's like, the only way to win, and only winning means not losing everything you have, is to not play. And yet it's like everything in our biology, going back millions of years, if you believe the evolutionists, is this desire for, companionship. You even look at, I don't know, it doesn't matter, but the trick is to not want anything from them. And that's the trick, is like, I can say that all day long, I can say it for 2 decades. But again, the moment I see a beautiful woman, it's like, my heart jumps out of my chest. I immediately want love and romance and all the blah, blah, blah. And it's like that, there's no cure for that. It'd be like if you ever seen the movies? There was a movie I saw once where a guy went into the jungle, and like a medicine man blew some sort of dust in his face that turned him into a zombie. It was basically a drug. It's like, if somebody blew drugs into your face, if you were standing on, the street, and somebody blew, whatever it might be, fentanyl, God forbid, in your face, it's not like you can just choose to be like, oh, I won't let that affect me. Like, I'll use mind over matter, and now that drug won't have any effect on me. It's literally the same thing. It's like, I can say all day that I don't like the effects that women have on me, but the moment it's in your face, like, it's essentially like having drugs. It's like, you can't say like, oh, don't affect me, drugs, I'm making a choice that will not affect me. Yeah, there's no resistance, there's no defense, there's no armor. So anyways, if you figure it out, let me know.